You bet your sweet bippy, Tobot Y is back.
Hello, it's KRBrickBot, and we're continuing to roll along with the brand new Tobot revival with our second favorite speedy blue speedster, Tobot Y. I talked about the new uniform style of this new generation of Tobot packaging, so if you want to hear me talk about a box in great detail again, check out the first Tobot X review. But I am going to go over the variations, like the blue. This is of course Tobot Y is blue, so it has that blue gradient grid, but although it kind of blends in with the uniform blue here, so yeah, there's that. And there's 2D or Corey. Yeah, with that two-finger pose, I guess that's a cool pose, with showing that app screen. And then the subtle marketing of the Hyundai with the Tobot Y pose here. It's more prominent here, but in case you didn't notice, that the show animation models have their Tobot symbol on the chest, but the toys have the Hyundai logo, so that's a bit of a difference. And I guess separate entities. Yep, so yeah, digital render of the car, Tobot Y, Hyundai Avante, and the Coreroid mode. Tobot Y is packed in the most dynamic of slants. Yeah, because he has his arm up, which really does make it the most dynamic in a standing pose. I guess it kind of reminds me of the very first Tobot packaging. I guess it kind of reminds me of the very first 2010s Tobot Y packaging. Tobot Y returns to his roots as a blue speedy compact car, but this time a Hyundai Avante, or the Elantra and pretty much the rest of the world. I guess either Avante for advancing or Elantra for elation. Yeah, a pretty rich blue, like 4-door sedan type, as opposed to the 2-door coupe that he was. Yeah, but it still has a similar window layout and such, including the roof light in there and in the back. Yeah, the rear tail lights are painted pretty nicely, just a nice solid red and silver. Yeah, could have liked some transparent plastic there, but this is Tobot style, and then Tobot Y in place of the usual car name that could be different in the different countries. Blank space for a license plate and a nice black plastic bottom here. There is a nice crease and fold, I guess one here that kind of lines up to one of the seam lines. And that signature grille, I guess that is a much more expanded grille shape. And yeah, I guess it's hard to make out there, just a little silver painted headlights and the lower bumper here and the Tobot Y license plate and a bit of the Hyundai symbol there. Nobody's asking, complaining, might say, why isn't he a helicopter anymore? Well, I guess after those adventuring days, I guess there was no longer a need for having an aerial Tobot for the immediate. So I guess he just went back to an auto, just a much more fuel efficient, just a more affordable. You know, cars are easier to maintain than aerial helicopters, so. Okay, he's not a helicopter anymore. Can we please stop making Tobot Y's identity of notoriety the one Tobot that ripped off and stole from Transformers? Unlike the Ioniq, the Avante or Elantra has had a long lineage going back to the 90s, and thus the previous Hyundai holder, helicopter, there is a direct comparison with the previous lineage. Mine is a generation there. Yeah, as you see, you know, it's the Tobot stylings, and therefore it's a much more squish type of car. Yeah, I would just measure just about a third much squatter than the real scale model of this 2014 generation of Avante. You know, the signature tiny little smiley grille, as opposed to the newest models like expanded grille, the much more expanded grille shape, as with the Carbot's raised and molded Hyundai logo as opposed to the Tobot's printed logo. Never mind the seam lines. Yeah, I guess the width is about the same, so this should be pretty much 122 scale, while this is 123, or maybe about a centimeter, a couple of millimeters shorter. But yeah, you can see much of the different, I guess, the design philosophies of Tobot and Carbot. Even though I think their wheels might be the same type of style, even though they're rendered differently, like a 5 double spoke. And I think this specific type of 5-spoke design is for the special edition limited type of car, not the standard edition. But yeah, I guess you can see how much of the curvature styles are similar, but also different, like the aforementioned indent crease style of the new generations. There's a gas cap there, so I guess, you know, this is still pretty much a conventional type of car for a new year. Yeah, I guess, you know, you can see much of the taillight stylings in both the toys and the real-life cars. And then just how much squish those windows are. Yeah, and of course, of the squish of the compacts, of the compacted Tobots, this Tobot Y really looks the most compact and squished, really compacting the compact car. Yeah, so you might be a bit disappointed that this Tobot Y doesn't look exactly like a real Hyundai Avante, like unlike this one. Yeah, but you can take it or leave it. And again, just the same point holds for this squishy compact Ioniq. Y transformation. I guess you can get started with the front fenders, and you can fold them out for like a turbo mode or the side rolling mode. Yeah, that falls out really easily, unfortunately. So the main thing to unlock is just this entire windscreen section, and then you can unfold these legs like the entire legs fold over the legs. Then this is a double hinge leg, then you can split those legs and then fold out the feet. Then fold out the extra heel here. Even has a little arrow. Then you can fold in these wheels to fill the gap here. And an angle there, then flip out the arms. Gonna put that back in, and then yeah, you have to lift up the flat to fold that down, and then put that back in. Then yeah, fold these panels to the side, flip out the wrist. And then turn this around. There's a drive chain on the hinge. That probably makes no sense to have a drive chain on the hinge, but at least that's a detail there. A car detail. Your Tobot Y is back to being a blue, white, and red Tobot. Yeah, I guess a good color combination that really works for speedster type characters. Red in part to the natural, like just the unpaintable like joints that is like the standard color for most Tobot toys. But other than that, yeah, the good color layout, the nice, you know, whites and reds, like that also are naturally from the headlights and a bit on the wrist. And yeah, the white appendages really gives it a good color scheme. And he does have a nice, like the slender athletic build that I associate Tobot Y with. A fair amount of panel lining and such, and a nice midriff definition. It also like looks like the black painted or plastic hydraulics on the side, like a bit of red there, like a bit of some panel lines that kind of Y slopes down to his signature Y-shaped codpiece. I mean, like that's bulging out more than I remember on previous Tobot designs. The legs are the back half of the cars, but he does wear it pretty well. And I guess there's a little more variety with the back kneecaps, unlike they were just completely mold braked inside the legs. So I don't know if you like these kind of hanging out like this. Yeah, but that does mean his Tobot Y is upside down. And the Hyundai logo here that apparently does carry that mandate of don't break the logo, it's splitting it in half. Just like X. I also do like the white plastic vents on the side, and I also love that there's car seats molded on here. You can see the headrest here and the front seats. Of course, this probably doesn't make sense for this front seat to be this far back. Yeah, but it's nice to have car details that are disguised as exterior molding details. Looking at the new head, it is more of a traditional robot style. Like it's why it has nice rounded eyes and a gray faceplate. Though, I don't know. Maybe the overhanging helmet-like head it kind of overshadows the eyes and might be hard to see at low angles. And also, I think this eye might be painted slightly higher than the other eye. It kind of looks like he's wincing. I don't know. Yeah, might be a bit of a minor QC defect, paint defect. Yeah, but as I said, because of this, it's hard to notice. And a nice bit of a white and red accent here, and with a nice hydraulics and circular bits. And this is like not quite exactly reminiscent of like the signature Tobot leather-faced head, although a Y is still there, like this central ridge section here. Yeah, you can see there's a bit of a Y there, so I guess it still has a Tobot design, but it's not so overt, unlike the others. Which might be a good idea or not, but then, you know, when you compare that to the more overt Axe's face, I mean, it might be a little odd that this is more subtle, but at least it's there. Also, nice white bits on the back of the head. Side by side with the new Axe, it is noticeable that Tobot Y is like a half a head taller than Axe, I guess, due to the leg construction. Y is a good size and height, although I gotta check whether this is actually show accurate height. And thus, he does scale pretty well with the older Tobot. I mean, of course, still a bit shorter, but I guess the back kibble helps. Speaking of back kibble, I think this is the best car Tobot Y that the design has been, because this is pretty clean. I mean, this is a pretty clean, the kibble cleans up pretty nicely. Yeah, especially the back here. It always has those weird windows in one piece instead of separately, realistically, but I guess these do form like nice shoulder wings over. So I think I've seen in some shots it just kind of goes down here so that it doesn't go over these bits of kibble. Like this, but yeah, of course I always prefer to go all the way up because then that flushes and cleans up the midriff nicely, so there's nothing hanging right behind the midriff. Yeah, just there's only this noticeable bit of kibble and then the bit of the knees here. Otherwise, this cleans up pretty nicely, unlike the previous old Tobot designs where they do have a bit of kibble hanging off the back. That also goes to his side profile because that is a really flat chest. Yep, hardly any bulge there. So I guess there is a justification for the squishification style. If it was real proportions, I guess this would jut out more, or there would be more kibble in the back, or maybe he'd just be a little longer or wider. Yep, he's much more lean than the Y he's ever been. As for the articulation and stuff, he has the full head swivel. Now about the arms. There are many clicks on the outward shoulders. And more than 2 clicks for a 90-degree bend. And then the fender shoulders get in the way though. And the shoulders. They are a little bit lower than what you expect on a human torso. And they are sunken a bit back compared to the head alignment. If you can see that. With the fender shoulders in the way. So that is a bit of an unnatural placement. But because of the fender shoulders, I think it does distribute the weight. I mean, I guess the fender shoulders really do help make this look not so out of place. Anyway, this is a nice 2 soft ratchet band and then all the way up here for transformation. And I guess the wrist in this way, I guess it's a sword wielding wrist. But Tobots don't use swords. And no bicep swivels, but due to transformation, the arms can go all the way in like this. And because they go all the way forward and not like just like halfway, this actually does compensate for the bicep swivels pretty well. To get into more dynamic poses you can only get with bicep swivels, like such as hand on hip, or front of hip, a little jab, the fist bump, like the bumping of fists, wider hands on hips, ready for a fist fight, Thai quad ready stance, or you know. And the crossing of the arms with attitude. For the lower legs, about 2.5 ratchet clicks that much for all the way forward and all the way back. Nice Y-shaped full spread. Thigh swivels. Yes, Tobot Y has thigh swivels. That's a rarity for Tobot toys. Gotta tell you that. Yeah, nice ratchet here, and then there are no stoppers here, so you can bend it the wrong way, but it will snap back in place. That's pretty nice to autocorrect. And I suppose the other transformational joint here, there's not much ratchet there, so of course, remove the wheel to get the full articulation. And the toe down, and I guess the heel like this, toe clamping, whatever that good's for. I can say this is the most articulated Tobot Y has ever been, even more than his adventure toy. Yeah, because of the head, even though it doesn't have a waist. But yeah, but you can get in the good most dynamic swivels such as the Sonic Kick. He can almost curl up into a Sonic. Spin. Head off. Oh look, even this back panel has a Y in it. Ooh, there's a little Greeblin. Yeah, I guess flip that around for the little Android face and the arms for the Coreroid mode. Yeah, it does kind of look like a naked white robot with a Y strapped around his shoulder and his lower area. And yes, that is unfortunate that his triangular shoulders are mounted offset, like right in the elbow area. I don't know, I guess that's because they couldn't find a good place for that to pivot other than there, and I guess there had to be enough clearance for this clip here, I guess. Yeah, he has a clip in his glutes. He's just kind of clenching. He is literally clenching the car with his glutes. Yeah, and this is a different system from the other Tobot Coreroids. Yeah, Y gets a clip. Axe gets some little holes on the back of his feet. Of course, you can do it in the vehicle mode, I guess, just by popping it out from the bottom. Or just pulling out that very noticeable tab. I mean, it is kind of disappointing that this has this bulging tab that kind of ruins the aesthetic of the front hood, if the seam lines haven't already. Yeah, but I suppose that's the only way you can hold on to this thing in the car mode. Hi, little guy. It might be obvious, but I'm really liking this new Tobot Y toy. There's a pretty good shape and design. Whoever designed this, and very good posability for a Tobot. Yeah, and even more so than Axe. I mean, yeah, I guess Axe is just here to be there, to be the main character. To be the main duo. Yeah, but Y is just more posable and much more fun to play with, while, you know, Tobot Axe is pretty basic. No offense. There's absolutely no current confirmation there will be a new version of the classic Tobot combiners. Yeah, but who knows, it's up to your imagination. Of all the iterations of Y and his many shades of blue, I think this latest iteration of Tobot Y is a good one to end on right now. A good combination of design elements, and I guess really accentuates his character, like both the design and his actual fictional character. He's a kind of a fun character. Yeah, so this Tobot Y is a solid recommend. For the car mode, I guess you can just take it or leave it. I guess it's, to the uninitiated, this is just a common car. Literally a common car. I think the Elantra is like one of the most common cars in the streets. Yeah, but anyway, I think it's good to have at least one Tobot that's just like a conventional car, like not one of those fancy new electric cars that are really expensive, hard to come by. Yeah, just a casual Elantra, like a long lineage of Elantras or Avantes that the kids and the car connoisseurs and the casually curious about cars seeing your favorite Tobot out in the wild. Don't go away, we have a special ending.
Hey everyone! KRBrickBot is also giving a shout out as well to also say like and subscribe and thank all his Korean and English Transformers and Tobot fans, alright? So y'all are rock stars, and thanks again for being part of his world, as well as have some buttered toast as well, okay? And possibly some gravy too. But remember, Tobot is back too, alright? So I hope that works. Alright, see ya!